Hello, good afternoon, everybody. I am here gonna go ahead and discuss the one and only trade I did go ahead and take today, and I'm going to go ahead and also give you guys the reason for the trade, how I traded it, and yeah. So let's get basically right into it. So my number one stock that I was looking at here today was AMAT. Now I'm going to go through a bunch of confluences as to why I was looking at AMAT and how the Q's, MU, and other basic, other companies essentially that's in the same sector determined this being the play for me. So first things first, let me go ahead and open up this, and let's get into it. The first thing I want to go ahead and state before we go ahead and talk about my trade is I want to show you guys why this was on watch for me. So the first thing we're going to go ahead and look at is the daily, right? We have a wild overextended move, right? We're getting up there. We got a slight gap up, slight gap up, gap fill, gap up, right? We got this huge engulfing candle with this little kind of blow off with a nice top wick and near 750, which is a whole dollar, right? $750 is a whole dollar. It didn't quite get there. So today we wake up, right? And I'm noticing slight heaviness in this name, right? We're giving up this yellow line. As you guys know, if you guys watched any of my previous videos, the yellow dotted line is previous day lows. Well, this is a bit of a change of character in the name considering how it was moving prior, right? Like every time this thing would go down previous day lows, well, it would be a gap up the following day, right? Well, this wasn't happening today, right? We weren't seeing any of that type of action, and it seemed like this was just acting a little bit different. So then I asked myself, well, why is this thing acting different? I go on Twitter, of course, because that's my news outlet, and I see here that Michael Burry has disclosed new positions that he shorted. So he short Nvidia, Tesla, Caterpillar, and AMAT. Now you might ask yourself, well, dude, Michael Burry has been wrong on a shit ton of shorts, right? Like he's been wrong several times on Nvidia and a plethora of other names. This is the guy who predicted the 2008 global financial crisis. If you guys do not know who Michael Burry is, right? So a lot of people associate him with a broken clock. A broken clock is only right twice a day, right? So, but this time is different, and I want to say this time is different for me because. Or why I took the short intraday was because this is coming in as this is kind of just been blowing everything out the water, right? Like we have moved from 500 to 700 fairly quick. So, in my mind, I'm sitting here thinking, all right, we are definitely, moving much faster. We also have this huge volume candle right here. Like look at this volume candle. This is significantly more. This is almost 3 times the size as any other candle almost, like, so, especially the last couple of days. So I see that, and then I'm immediately associating Michael Burry with his last play. His last play, guys, if you don't know, he shorted PLTR, right? He was short PLTR somewhere around the 190s, maybe the 200s, and he nails this trade, right? He just had recently disclosed that he got out of that position, which is why you're probably seeing this nice bounce, also breaking a nice trend line on PLTR. But, like, people are now going to associate with Michael Burry with, oh, dude, this is the guy who nailed PLTR, and not the fact that this is the guy who has shorted several times on Nvidia and a plethora of other names and lost. It's because his last trade did really well, and a lot of individuals now see that, oh my God, he was right on PLTR. So what I'm associating is the fact that possibly AMAT is having some people, not only is Michael Burry possibly short, but maybe some people might want to sell, right? Maybe some people are like, all right, let me go ahead and de-risk. This guy was right on PLTR, and this could possibly be an opportunity where, I just want to go ahead and cover some or I want to sell some of my position so that I am safe. So essentially take profit is what I'm assuming other, companies, hedge funds, whoever's running the sector is, right? So you know, I have that in the back of my mind as a reason why I'm taking this trade. And then we also get this report stating that Meta is developing a cloud infrastructure business that will sell access to AI compute and aims to compete with Amazon, Microsoft, and Google, right? And this made Meta surge quite significantly here today. I think Meta was somewhere up, yeah, like 9%. But in pre-market alone, it was up over 6%, right? So Meta had like a 6% gain just straight out the gate, you know, off this news. And if you correlate the time frame of like 8:33, I think if we look at MU, I think MU started dripping up at about 8:33 if I'm not mistaken, like 8:37, 8:34. Yeah, so once that news came out, you can see that like a bunch of other, you know, names in the same sector as AMAT started kind of letting go, like SNDK, right? It's about 8:34, a minute after, right? We have possibly ARM, which is, ARM's been my go-to to short, but this one was kind of choppy here today. I think this is, yeah, this one just had like, it's light prints on pre-market, so it's not very liquid. Let's see like MRVL. That might be what I want to look up. Yeah, so like MRVL, right? It's not as significant, but I think it's about here. It got a nice, MRVL was a really nice setup here today. But, you know, what is it that I'm looking at, right? What I'm looking at is across the board, I'm seeing semiconductors and memory come in, right? It's getting some sell pressure, and I'm like, well, AMAT has some bad news. If people are associating Michael Burry short, AMAT short, with, you know, the correlation of his PLTR short, where, you know, he was right on PLTR, it can get scary for some people. Maybe that makes people nervous a little bit. So that's just a little bit of what was going in my mind. Now, what sold me on the short? Well, what sold me on the short was the fact that we were having difficulties several times getting above previous day lows. I mean, even like when we got above VWAP, we steady pressured down. So I'm going to go ahead and explain the trade that I took now, because it was actually a fairly short trade because I was pretty sized into this position. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I did not catch any of this. This fade right here, and this would have been lovely. The reason why I didn't catch that is because I was relatively sized in this position, and I had made a shit ton in like the first 5 minutes of the market. So let's go right into it. So immediately we get this rip up, right, on AMAT. Now what I'm thinking is, all right, I got this previous day lows that I can use as risk. I think that we're gonna get some steady pressure. This is discretionary trading here. So I'm like, I think we're gonna get some steady pressure. And if I can see any form of a double top, some wick tops, I want to get short. So I get short with about a 682 average. I got short like right here, like right here is where I got short, give or take a couple. But I was short like right here, basically, as this was topping, tailing. And then we go sub VWAP, and now I have confidence, right? I have my sloping EMAs coming down. I have previous day lows above. I know that this name has some bad news to it. It's been kind of parabolic. I wouldn't say that it's a parabolic move, by the way. I think it's just been really, really steady. But this should be enough for it to kind of retrace a bit, right? So, and I'm looking at all the other semiconductors, and I'm like, all right, this might be the chance. So this starts letting go, and I'm in pretty decent size, guys. You know, I'm in a good amount of shares, being that the stock is $682. You know, 600. Well, let's just give it $700 a share, right? So like, cause you know, up here it's like 688. So let's just say, let's average out to 700, right? I don't have a 700 short, but like, you know, I'm paying a lot of money to short this, right? Like a huge chunk of my account is going into shorting this name. So this breaks sub VWAP, and immediately we start losing the 21 EMA, right? We start losing the 9 EMA. The cloud is red, and we just start breaking down. Now, I am a momentum-based trader. So as we're flushing, I don't want to stay in this name too long, because I know that this can get a very, very fast bid. So I end up getting out right here. Literally right here is where I got out. 667s. Give it around this wick. It might have been somewhere like here as well. Could have been around that area. 100% it was around this wick. And I get out here, right? In 4 minutes, I made a shit ton because this. I mean, dude, this is like a 30-point, a 20-point move. You know, it's a 20-point move in the span of 4 minutes, and I have some size on this thing. Like, in my mind, I'm like, dude, if I don't take this shit off, it's gonna be a mistake. Like, I have a here's the thing, guys. I have a tendency of, like, sometimes I'll overhold a position, and then I'll just see it V-shape right back up and stop me out. I wasn't gonna let that happen because it was so early in the day. This is pre 9:45. We, ISM was today, and then we had some other thing at like 10 o'clock. So we had like two news. One was at 9:45. Let me pull up my my financial juice so I could just tell you what it was. My financial juice. We have 9:45 was S&P manufacturing PMI, and then 10 a.m. was US ISM manufacturing PMI. So PMI final, and then we had the ISM, the S&P manufacturing PMI, and the ISM one. So I knew I wanted, because I look at financial juice every time I wake up, ahead of time. I'm always proactive in knowing when news is coming out, when important news might be coming out. As soon as I got 20 plus points in my favor, guys, I was gone. I was gone knowing that we have news coming out and I don't want to partake in it. So this was basically essentially my one and done trade. I took this trade and was out. And I also want to go ahead and share confluence that I also noticed. Look at how weak the Qs are, right? Look at the Qs right here. Now ask yourself, why is the Qs weak, right? Why is the Qs weak? Well, the Qs are weak because SNDK's down, MU's down. I'm pretty sure TSM's more than likely down. Let's see TSM. TSM's down 6%. You have NVIDIA that was down. You have MRVL, AMAT, WDC, AMD. You have, just a plethora. Saxo, INTC. Like, all of these semiconductors are down, right? And the QQQ is growth oriented. And a lot of the semiconductors are in QQQs. So I wanted to say, look at the difference between the Qs, right? And then look at the difference between Qs and SPY. SPY is green, guys. Now, why is SPY green? Well, SPY is green because SPY has different sectors in it, right? It has healthcare, which has been doing well. Banks, it has Apple, Meta, Amazon. Amazon's green, Tesla's green, Microsoft's green, Google's green, Now is green, Apple green. What else do we have? We have a plethora. I'm pretty sure Lily's probably green. Let's see. Hello, why? Lily's down. Humana? Can we get Humana up there? Let's see. Humana's green. UNH green, same sector. HIMS, right? Because it's in the healthcare kind of sector. HIMS is green. So we have this kind of change in rotation that's happening. Let's see what All's doing. Allstate's green. What's another sector? I just had it in the back of my mind. Dang, I forgot what sector I wanted to bring up. Oh, I just had it when I was talking, but anyways, what we're seeing is the fact that the SPY is just so much more diverse that when memory names are coming in, right, when they're failing, it's going to severely affect the Qs more than it affects the SPY. And, banks, that's what I want to look at, like WDC. Wait, WDC, what the fuck? Wells Fargo, that's what I meant. Wells Fargo, green, 3%. Back, green, 2%. Goldman Sachs, green. JP Morgan, green. You got, wow, this chart looks like shit because TOS just does not fix it. But you notice where money is kind of going to, right? So that's enough. When you're getting a broadening out on SPY, it's enough to where it doesn't affect as much as it does with the Qs. So for anyone who might have shorted anything today, let's say someone was like, oh man, Apple's been relatively weak, I wanted to short this name. It's like, Dude, if you didn't have the QQQs and SPY up, you would have not known that the thing that's really dragging the Qs down in the market difference is semis. So like if anyone was short, you needed to be hammering the memory names today. Like it just is what it is. MSTR is even green, guys. Like look at this. Like MSTR is green. So that was essentially my trade. I hope you guys ended up learning something about AMAT and this trade. You know, it's very, very important when you're starting to see these discrepancies between the Qs, and then you start seeing memory like all aligning, because sometimes these memory names move differently. Like I think yesterday ARM was on an absolute ripper, MRVL was on a ripper, but then MU wasn't moving, and SNDK wasn't really moving well either yesterday. So it's very important when you're trading these memory names or even any sectors, it's very important to look at the broadening of the sector that you're currently trading, whether you're short or long, because if you start noticing that every single one of them is red, like that is telling you something. And if you're noticing that the Qs is weaker than SPY, and you're able to determine what sector is really holding the Qs back, it can really change the way that you view what you're trading, you know? So that's all I have to say. I didn't catch the rest of this. I really wanted to kill some 650 puts. They were priced pretty nicely, especially like through this. Like up here, it was like they had a wild spread when it was up here. It was like $3 on the bid to $10 on the ask. But that's because the market had just opened, so there's volatility. But when I think this thing started settling down and kind of got this uptick, I think the spreads got relatively tight. And those 650 puts were so appealing. I couldn't for the, you know, this is something that probably Lance, Nate, and some of these other big traders that are the greats, right? This is something that they're successful at, where they just know how to keep on hammering. I'm not there because I'm still in the, dude, look, I make a good amount of money, but I'm not in the wealth side yet, right? Like, these guys don't have to trade another day in their life. Like, I still have to pay the fucking bills. You know what I'm saying? So there's a huge difference between where I'm at in my trading career and Lance, where Lance will probably scout this move, let it pop up, and then nail this move, or Nate might have done that. Like, we're just in two different spots, and sometimes you just gotta take the green day. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you can make 20 points in 4 minutes on size, you know, it's like, it's almost like a no-brainer. I went to the gym, I came back, took a nap. You know, Lance always talks about how, like, you know, if you have a bad, sleeping schedule, how it can affect your trading. Well, I woke up at 3:30 a.m. today because, you know, my dog woke me up. So, and I couldn't go back to sleep. So, because of that, you know, I just wanted to nail and bail. You know, I'm an advocate of, dude, if Lance and these people are giving you, like, you know, their kind of keys to success, and one of the keys is, hey, man, get good sleep. You gotta fucking take, you know, what they're saying. So, you know, I didn't get the best sleep. I got a really, really good trade. Was it the best trade? Clearly not. But I'm green on the day. A lot of people cannot say the same, right? I made a good amount of money, and I nailed my setup. You know, would I have loved to catch this absolute banger of 50 plus points? Of course. Of course. Would I have loved to have shares, 650 puts, 660 puts, you know, on this name? Of course I would have. But that's not what happened, you know? And this name obviously hit SSR, hit the daily 10 moving average, and kind of caught a bit off of it for a slight little bounce. But, you know, that's all I have for you guys, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope I did a good breakdown as to what I look for, how I broke AMAT down. It stood heavy on the previous day lows the whole day, guys. I mean, and then as soon as this thing went sub VWAP and just washed out, I mean, just an excellent opportunity for those people who actually fully intraday traded it. So for anyone who caught any of the memory shorts today, congratulations. Give yourself a pat on the back. You did a really great job today. And that's basically it, man. I hope you guys learned something. And that's the most important thing for me today, is I hope you guys learned something about my trading style. Hope you guys learned something about the way that I kind of decipher news, and the way that I find my discrepancies between the SPY and QQQs at time, depending on how sectors are rotating. So how money's inflowing and outflowing. But that's it, guys. Have a good day. Enjoy.